I'd like to call to order the Germantown School District Building Committee meeting. Time is 6 o'clock. Roll call. Borden.
Here.
Kanke, absent excused. Mr. Loaf.
Here.
And I am here. Item 3, agenda revisions and approval. Do we have any revisions? I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 4, approval of the minutes from the August 9th, 2021 meeting.
Motion to approve August 9th, 2021 minutes.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, reports and updates. Director of Buildings and Grounds, Fund 10 Projects and Facility Services, Mr. Erickson.
Evening. First thing on the report is the administration building secured entry. Due to staffing reduction at the administration building, there was no longer going to be a person at the front desk, so it was decided at one point to try and install a intercom system that certain individuals would be able to unlock the front door once a person came and ring the doorbell, so to speak, and gain access to the building, and somebody would then meet them up at the front doors and take them to where they needed to go. It has since been changed now that they're going to rotate individuals sitting at the front desk, so somebody's more up front. It's just a matter of, it's not going to be the same person all the time, but they're still going to have somebody up front at the main desk. Any questions?
Nope.
Next on it is Germantown High School trees. Several trees are planned to be planted at Germantown High School to replace a bunch of dead ones that had to be cut down. They're throughout the athletic areas and the driveways. I know that the aerial shot doesn't show a very good spotting of the X's, but the X's are there, and that's where they're planning on trying to put a few of them in there. They're mostly going to be maples and oaks that will be planted. The funding came from the Bucks from the 3 for Trees program. That's $300 that they're going to buy approximately 6 of the trees for, and then the Environmental Club is also donating an additional $100 to purchase a couple more trees to help plant more. Any questions?
Nope.
Next on the agenda is the high school track. The high school track is completed finally. They finished the striping of it on September 9th. It's ready for use. It looks a lot better than what it was before. It's hardening now. They said that we should get at least 5-6 years before we have to throw another couple layers on it and restripe it again. There was a little conversation to hold off the striping until spring. Under the contractor's recommendation, though, he said that you don't want to do that because if you hold it off on it, even though you're preventing the fading from the now until the spring use, come spring, the opportunity to paint it probably wouldn't happen before we'd want to be using it. So we needed to get it done this fall yet. Next on it, we have the Germantown High School soccer fencing. Century Fence has been out and repaired Germantown High School soccer fencing. As you can see, some of it was in very desperate need of repair. Several posts needed to be reset. You can see in some of these, the posts were up 8 inches, 10 inches out of the ground with the concrete. Total cost for the project was around $14,800. Most of the gates were adjusted so that they work properly as well. You can see that the original before picture on the gate by the concession stand, the ball could easily have slid underneath it. Now it's low enough and close enough and level to the ground that balls will stay within the field of play now. Rails also were replaced throughout the area as needed, and some minor mesh fabric work was also completed. Any questions? Nope. While they were there, one of the storms came through, and Germantown High School baseball diamond, you can see the tree that got downed on it and also damaged some of the fencing. District maintenance staff did cut up and remove the tree. The tree was disposed of at Germantown Recycling Center, and the Century Fence properly made the repairs afterwards. There was also another tree branch that fell down at MacArthur Elementary. The tree actually fell down over the staff parking lot. Maintenance staff went over there and removed as much of it as they safely could. Unfortunately, it did have a large limb still remaining in the tree, and the tree was actually kind of leaning towards one of the neighbor's property. Because of this, we didn't feel comfortable removing it, and Larson Landscaping was called in, and they took the tree down that very next Saturday. Trees removed and in safe condition again. Kennedy Middle School, Project Lead the Way carpeting. The carpet in the Project Lead the Way room was replaced this summer. It did have carpet squares put in, so if there's any stained or any damaged carpets, they can be easily exchanged with a small carpet square in the future. It was a great improvement to the area. It needed to be done. Now, between the previous years when we replaced the flooring in there and now the carpet, this room's in great shape. GSF update. A Buildings and Grounds Google Doc form has been created and shared with all Germantown School District staff to provide feedback on the quality of the cleaning that's taking place within our buildings. The form is a communication tool so that staff can communicate to GSF directly instead of having to go through their building principal and myself to give the feedback that's needed with things that they're finding within their classrooms. The GSF account manager and area manager have access, and they also get notified by email when somebody fills out the form and submits it. Therefore, it's something that is a living document that they can continue to see where some of their issues are and which buildings are at. To date, we have, I believe it's 71 filled out. There is also an area on it for GSF to respond to on the actions that they have taken.
What's the turnaround time on the communication back once the form is filled out?
I have informed GSF that they should try to get it done within 24 hours to respond back to what the resolution was.
So we still have 71 forms filled out and they're all taken care of?
I would have to say not all have been taken care of yet.
Okay.
Still working with them on it to try to get a lot of things going. They're really having a tough time trying to get the quality of cleaning to where it needs to be at this point.
Okay.
We are going through and meeting with GSF and the custodial staff at each school to discuss communication. Communication, there seems to be a little bit of a communication barrier that we need to break through. Majority of the staff do not speak English. There are a few though, and there has to be at least one person in each building, we're requiring it, that can speak and understand English that somebody can respond to at site. We are also requiring that anytime that anything is going on within the buildings that they wear the district two-way radio. That way, if anybody in the main office or any staff need to get a hold of them, they have a method of getting a hold of them besides just a phone, which we all know some of our buildings, the cell phone service is terrible in, particularly Amy Bell, Rockfield, and GHS. So we came up with the method of using the two-way radios.
Are we seeing any sort of patterns with some of the submissions? Is one area maybe need much more improvement over others, or?
Yes. Kennedy Middle School, which at this point has a temporary staff. They're working on still trying to fill that building up with the best staff that they can, or a staff, a permanent staff. But at this time, they seem to be the one with the least amount of issues. A lot of it's inconsistency, carpets not being vacuumed in the classrooms, floors not being swept. It's not everywhere, but it's hit and miss within each of the buildings.
Is GSF facing employment shortage right now?
What's that?
Are they facing an employment shortage, which is then in turn part of our problem?
Well, it's not our problem, it's their problem. So with that being said, though, they have all the positions filled, but the 5 at Kennedy Middle School are just temporary employees that are from another account, and they will remain with us until they get new 5 employees in there that are trained. They've promised us that. It's actually a new account that they have opening up in October, and they're hoping to have those positions filled by the end of the month.
Any other questions?
I'd like to report on the Amy Bell infiltration basin. I did receive a picture of it this morning from Brittany with it being flooded. I was out there earlier this morning and there was no standing water in it. We had the big rain come through and there was standing water in it. I was back out there at Amy Bell later in the afternoon, probably about 11 o'clock. there was no standing water. It is draining very well at this point in time. It has greened up quite a bit since the beginning of last summer. It still has a lot of weeds in it, and it's gonna take a little bit of time for the grass to overtake the weeds that are there, but I think in time, we'll get it taken care of. We did have a flood in the building this morning, which is why I was out there early this morning. I believe that during one of the heavy rainfalls over the weekend, particularly Sunday afternoon, the storm drain on the west side of the building actually backed up into the building. There's 2 drains in the boiler room that are connected to that particular storm drain, and water came up through those 2 drains and flooded the floors a little bit. We did manage to get it cleaned up before students and most of the staff showed up. I do have Roto-Rooter coming out tomorrow to go through the drain, the storm drain. They're gonna, they're not gonna auger it out, but they're gonna take a jet gun up it to blast anything that might be in the way. It is draining, but I think with the large quantity of water that came down is why it backed up on the drains. At first, we thought it came in through a boiler room door, but after reviewing it, there's no way it came in through that boiler room door. It had to come up the floor drains. Environmental managements are going to be coming out tomorrow. They're going to be performing our 3-year asbestos reinspection. They will hit every building between tomorrow and Wednesday to perform this inspection. Then we'll get the report. It'll be posted on the site accordingly on what their findings are. I did meet with Lippert Pool for the pool deck issue. They came out, and what they're planning on doing now, they're still getting a lot of grief from the grout people on whether or not their grout's at fault or whether it's an installation fault. So what they wanted to do is they came out, they took a gallon of water, they're gonna do a mock-up of a floor using the grout that's in the pool, using the same grout but a different batch, and using their cement-based grout, and they're gonna let the water sit on it and see if it actually softens up the grout or not. They are expecting the grout people to come out, I believe it's September 22nd, to walk the deck and so they can see what's actually happening out in the deck again, confirm one way or the other on whether it's the grout that's failing or what the opinion is out there. Lippert really does feel the grout's the issue. Any questions? That's all I have at this time, unless you want to talk about the floor scrubber at Kennedy, the robotic one.
One thing I thought of, Don, is the security door at the district office. Was that work completed, but we're still going to have somebody at the front desk anyway, or?
Yes, at this time, we're going to have somebody at the front desk.
And was the intercom and camera system installed, or no?
Yes, it was installed. Are the doors being unlocked now still,
No.
or are they remaining locked?
Once the system is properly working, then they'll stay locked, so which is different than before. So once they'll move the system onto that front computer, and then we can keep the doors locked, and then people will be buzzed in. But also it helps us, there are times when people are gone or missing, and so we can revert back to that system if it's for some reason not covered, the front desk.
Yep, sounds good.
Any other questions? We have no unfinished business. We have no new business, so I'll take one more motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting ends at 6:14. Thank you.